Well, hello everybody. This is Steve Olson. It's Saturday, November 12th. I finished editing the rest of the first interview with Daniel, the Nephilim, and we've become friends. And I've really been enjoying Daniel's company. We've laid down probably, I don't know, 4 hours of tracks so far. I'm just recording and listening and letting him tell his story. And so today's episode kind of completes what we talked about. Now, Daniel does mention a date in his interview, but I blanked it out. And the reason that I do that is because WSO will not ever say any dates of any kind. And the reason for that, guys, is because there are too many variables that we do not know. There are too many things that are hidden to us that we just would need in order to accurately determine the orbit and all of these different things and where everything is at. Now, Daniel claims to know, and that's fine. But at this point, WSO will not even put that on the video. All right, with that said, the last thing I want to say to you guys also is Daniel is a very disabled person. He cannot get out of bed. He has to have assistants help him from the VA. He is on a huge regimen of drugs and things like that. And so, as such, he pauses a lot because he is his health, and so he has to stop for a minute to breathe. He's not trying to be rude. Second thing, when he forgets a term or he gets something mixed up, I've noticed that it will happen a few times where he'll get something transposed in his mind. Those are the drugs, guys. Just be aware of that. He does not skip a beat when I'm talking to him in the 4 hours. I mean, I ask him just rifle question after question. He comes back with answer after answer, and I haven't caught him tripping up yet. So guys, just give this guy an open mind. I have befriended him. I think he's pretty cool, and we'll see what happens. But give it a listen, and I'm doing the reporting. You decide. But at least I'm telling you the info. Kind of visualize.
Also, the green planet that you've been seeing,
Yes, the green
I
planet.
think Marshall Masters named it as Farada.
Yeah, he went and named the planets. What is its real name?
Ishnu.
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 What?
No, I'm just I have to go back because Ishnu rang a bell somewhere in my memory, and I got to go find out why.
Sumerian goddess. You want to know how the Sumerians are connected to this?
Sure. Yes.
The Anunnaki came from Nibiru. Nibiru is inhabited.
And is that the greenish planet that we're
No,
seeing?
that's secondary. Nibiru is the largest one in the outside orbit that swings around like a wrecking ball. And Farada is closer to the brown dwarf, and there's several planets and moons that are gravitationally bound to each other, so they spin where they are.
All right.
It's
Well,
really a weird system.
that's goes without saying. You've seen that object that we've been talking to Dave Dobbs about with the the bright red or orange red ball that has like the
Wings on it.
yeah, that one.
That's what the Sumerians called the brown dwarf, because as the solar wind hits it, it'd be like a comet. It's shearing off some of that debris and dust, and you get that fantail, basically. Just like any other comet or orbital body that has junk with it.
Got it.
And I do know that there's junk with it.
Yeah. And so when you built this telescope, did the government, sharing this information with your superiors? Did they give you any feedback as to, like, well, great job, Daniel, you captured the brown dwarf, or
They wanted me to build another one.
Huh. So how many did they build?
It's New Zealand.
Got it.
And the Wormwood Array in Australia, a whole bunch of infrared tracking stations.
So they've set up a whole network to track it.
A whole array.
Yeah.
with about 30 dishes at the south end of Australia to watch this thing float by.
Now, how is the Vatican tied into this? Do you know?
The Vatican?
Yeah.
Oh my God, they've been holding this as secret knowledge for eons.
That's what I've always suspected. I just wanted to hear somebody that knew.
That archive I've been in because I've had special permission because of cooperation between governments. So there are ancient records in there of this thing passing.
That's what I would have suspected. And is it the 3,600-year orbit, Daniel, or is it the...
Yes, it's a 3,600-year plus or minus, depending on the amount of breakaway speed it has and the trajectory it has when it comes out from behind the star, our star Sol. So it could fluctuate between 15 and 20 years. If it comes out slow, add 20 years. If it comes out fast, you're around 3,600. Because it goes around, it gets whipped around because of the gravitation, and then slingshotted out, back out into the nether regions of our outer rim system.
Sorry about that, Daniel. That was just my cell phone ringer. I'll turn that off.
Our outer rim system?
Yep.
That we live in? Okay, once it reaches its perigee, I think it is, it slows down and makes that inevitable parabolic curve back in as it's being tugged by everything. You know, because everything is connected through the geometry and also the magnetism, well as the electric fields that cover basically the whole universe, but they're so intense that they are pulled along with our star in a spiral. Anybody ever tell you that? We don't run in a complete circle around the sun?
Oh no, you have to visualize
the
sun. Yeah, I in fact, I should put that. I put a little illustration up here during this segment to show people that we're actually we follow behind the sun. We fall behind the sun in a helix fashion, guys. That's how it really looks through space. And if you've got a second object like this brown dwarf, I guess, and tell me if I'm wrong here, Daniel, it's doing the same thing. It's just plowing through space.
Yep.
And it's got its solar system and its objects and so forth. And basically what you see, if you were looking at it from behind, imagine two sports cars driving away from you. And they slowly get closer as they're driving down and slowly get farther away from each other as they're driving down this path, if you will. That's the way I've learned to visualize it. Is that a correct way?
Yeah, welcome to Celestial Mechanics 101.
Oh gosh, don't even put me in kindergarten, man.
Well, I said 101.
I know.
Not the first grade.
Stupid fresh.
We graduated to college level stuff.
Not even close, brother. I know I'm stupid. See, that's the difference between me and a lot of other people. I know I'm stupid. They don't. I'm just laughing. So anyway, gotta laugh sometimes. So we've got these two bodies, cranking through space. All these other bodies floating. It's like a ping pong. It seems like it would be some kind of a ping pong like alley or something, you know?
Yeah, but they're all fixed into their, like you said, the helix gravitational pull as the sun does its thing, going through the universe on the outer edge.
Yep.
But the thing is, you got to remember, all those objects within that system are all connected. You know, you get like connected dots, but the thing is, it's all connected by the magnetic fields.
Right, it has to be.
And as you get closer with the magnetic fields, you're going to have plasma discharges.
And where do you think we've seen recent evidence
that day when that object went by it?
Yep. Go ahead.
And pyramids up in Wisconsin too.
Yes.
Big one.
The one that we know of, and we're just now with the LDAR radar and everything like that, are starting to find more and more of them. But the one we know of is in a lake underwater.
Okay. Have you ever heard of Karl Monk?
No, sir.
Okay. Geometrianism. You might want to look him up and study him, because I was his understudy. How we located all the sites with coordinates from Giza, and also compared it to the coordinates on Mars at Cydonia with that 5-sided pyramid in the face.
So you're doing...
You to watch it if you really want to know where we came from. Because the Anunnaki had the base up as a waypoint to go to Nibiru with the gold.
So the gold is indeed true. They do need the gold.
Yeah, because it reflects all that IR. Infrared.
Yes, I'm aware. Yep.
There's more to this.
I'm sure there is.
We have 5 colonies on Mars.
Go on.
We took over the alien base there. And we've been going back and forth with the secret space program. I was part of that too. I was on the first wave to take the base.
So we had an armed conflict on Mars. What year was that?
2004, 2005. But we first had to take the moon first. Yes, there's a lot of stuff up on that moon. I've seen it all.
And who's on our side?
The Anunnaki and the Greys. They want to kick the reptilians out because they've been a pain in the ass all over the universe. The Galactic High Council's already condemned them.
Yeah, I've heard that several times from several different sources, yeah.
I'm probably the only one that you've talked to that actually met the Galactic Council.
You absolutely are.
You're the commander on the Black Diamond. That was the name of the ship that we used. It was a flat black, huge fucking thing. Almost like the Death Star in Star Wars, but a little bit smaller and sleeker.
And so they would take crews back and forth to Mars in that vehicle?
That and several others. We had scout ships. We had supply ships that were all anti-gravity and wave motion vehicles.
Wow, we've been exploring wave motion and things like that. It's funny you should mention that. So there's a huge body of content out there about the secret space program, and what Daniel is saying, I guess you're saying you're confirming it's all true, and you saw it.
Including all the black satellites.
Yeah, right.
Now, who wants to hear about the night?
We all do, man.
Okay, I've been on board.
And what's its purpose? Why do they have it up there?
It's a communication beacon, left here 12,000 plus years ago to monitor our communications once we became more technologically able. And it's been transmitting information back to its home world.
Which is?
Orion.
So we're talking about, well, tell me who we're talking about here.
Well, I could get into the ancient Egyptians, but the thing is, you got to remember when the Earth was young, 250,000 years ago, there were different factions upon the planet exploiting it. That is why we have all the different cultures now.
That makes sense from an anthropological standpoint, but it almost... It almost sounds that you were involved in, you know, technological archaeology.
Yes, because I was sent all over this planet and several others to retrieve ancient alien technology.
And how much?
Because of my blood, because they sent other scientists in who didn't have what I have in my blood, and they were killed.
And why is that? Why is that, Daniel?
Because what I got in my blood.
Which, by the way, is which race have you been? You're a hybrid human, and what is the other part of you?
Anunnaki.
Okay. And the people that, you know, and I don't mean to, you know, I really need to go down this path with you, man. I mean, I absolutely get the Sumerian texts are older than the biblical texts, and the biblical texts were borrowed from the Sumerian texts. But when Christians talk about the, you know, the alien Anunnaki, they call them the fallen ones. Are we talking about the same people?
Well, when they referenced the fallen ones, that was their literal interpretation. But it came down from when the Anunnaki first came here, they interbred with the species that they genetically modified to become human. Okay? And once you had an offspring between an Anunnaki and an Anunnaki on this planet, it could not go back to Nibiru or any other civilization because of the genetic program that was going on with us.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you want to know about the genetic program?
I want you to tell us what it is.
Okay. There were several different types of apes, as you call them. I would call them humanoid. Okay. They were experimenting with the DNA with each one, including the orangutans. And from there, they did several gene splices, which were the voice box, which is, if you look at a bird's voice box, it's very similar. That's why humans can sing real good. The intelligence factor was added in so that way there'd be intelligent slaves, because we were doing most of the backbreak work while humans were. What else for genetic splicing? Oh yeah, they cut our lifespan down from thousands of years to maybe 100, 150, depending on your genetic makeup. So we didn't live as long as Gilgamesh or any of the other demigods, Marduk, Ishtar.
So probably a good way to you know, and hopefully we talk more about this stuff down the road, but one way to net it out would be to say, what did Sitchin get wrong?
What did he get wrong?
Because right now it's basically you're reading right out of the, you know what I mean?
Well, I don't have a book in front of me. I know that.
Oh no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the story that you're telling me sounds like, you know, the same story that Sitchin told us.
Well, it basically is. The guy is truthful.
I never thought
he had worlds of experience, God rest his soul. But the thing is, he was the one that first brought it to light that, you know, these fallen angels were something other than angelic. And these angels that come down to talk to us are not really angels. That's the way it was written in the Bible.
Yeah,
there are over 54,000 species in this universe. Some of them humanoid, but look different. Some of them reptilian, but they're not the same as other reptilians. So genetic processes have been going on in this universe for millions of years, and we're just an end product.
Yeah, we're just the current state.
Yeah, but they built this for a certain purpose.
Right. Well, there you go. So apparently are we still slaves for them, or is that what you're saying? Is that we've always been slaves for them?
When the two factions wanted to one wanted to destroy the planet and not tell the humans about the flood the first time. Okay, it was Enlil and Enki. Enlil wanted to kill us all, but Enki had a heart, okay, and wanted to save us. So he selected groups from across the planet to repopulate the planet once the passing. All right. Now the Enlil line, like the George Bushes, the Queen of England and stuff with the reptilians in them.
Yep.
Okay. They're the ones who want to enslave us. Enki wants to help us become what we should be, which is higher enlightened beings. Because, the spark of life, okay, you know how they say that?
Yes.
That's your essence inside you, what makes you you. Your fleshy body on the outside is just a mechanism to transport that spiritual being.
So the Anunnaki and the story as we've heard and so forth, and I think this would be a question that all humans would want to know. Who is the ultimate? Is there one source, one main entity that's in charge of it all?
It would have to be the House of Anu, which was the royal lineage when the Anunnaki came to the planet, and Enki and Enlil are his offspring. Enlil was the mission commander, but Enki was the planetary commander. He got, what to say on the ground.
Because I would, as I've been piecing this together, it feels to me like there's, and I'm just going to be straightforward, and you can correct me, but the conflict between the Anunnaki and the reptilians, and these different factions over the Earth, I believe there's a thing called source or the existent, and I don't think the existent wants war at all in this universe. Like, there is no such thing as a good war or a good kill, And that's just my theology, and I'll just let you cut it to pieces if you want to. But I'm pretty confident that this conflict is neither. It's like the Clone War. It's like clones versus the robots. Like in this Empire in the Star Wars series.
Yeah.
It's a false. All of it's just designed to control the population.
That's right. That's why they invented religion for.
So you're saying that the Anunnaki do not have a religion? They don't worship anybody?
Well, they have their ancient gods, but the thing is, they have evolved to the point where, are we gods ourselves since we created humans? And what is that human, essence going to be once it evolves to a higher plane of consciousness? So they've been trying to keep us back, this global government, and keep us enslaved, mind slaves.
Number 3.
So you have to work for the almighty dollar instead of yourself.
Yeah, that's right. And, it's like sacrifice all life force for it.
Yep. And they have their stupid rituals, which really don't mean anything because there is no Satan. It's only pure evil what they do.
Yeah, we call them, in our world, we call them, the nasty word, we call them Luciferians.
Yeah, I know.
And, the sick rituals. And one of the theories that bounces around is that the reptilians use humans as food.
You get that right.
And I don't know if the Anunnaki approve of that or not, but
I've seen them mowing on human flesh. They get off on it. All our endocrine system.
yeah, all the fear steroid that's going through your body when you're being eaten.
Yeah.
Wow. So what's the prognosis, Dan? I mean, you know, I don't think we can tell the whole story in one day, but you know, what's the short-term prognosis, and are we going to be facing, you know, what's the storyline going forward? If we assume that everything you're saying is true, that the Anunnaki have been here, there's been people that have lived inside the earth, that the Antarctica is where the Nordics live, that you've been to these different places, and I can't wait to hear more stories about it if we get a chance to do that.
Yeah.
But just give me the major kind of roadmap. Do you know what
Once we get past this galactic event, there's going to be a hell of a lot less people on the planet because they are not prepared.
So why didn't they tell us about this in 82 or 78 or whenever they saw it with IRS? Why didn't they just say, okay, it's time for the world to buckle down and prepare for this thing?
Because nobody would go back to work. Everybody would be prepping and going to all the safe areas and overcrowding them.
So it's not the nefarious, they're trying to kill off the human population or kill it down. You don't think that's any of their motive?
Well, the word cull comes to mind. Cull?
Yeah.
Culling?
Yeah, CULL.
Okay, because some of them call us useless eaters.
Who calls us that?
The reptilians.
So, is there a reptilian in my room right now and I don't know it?
No.
Would you know if a
reptilian was around? Field around them.
Go ahead. Sorry.
You'd have to see a distortion field around them.
And how common are the reptilians in day-to-day life in this world?
They've been known to abduct cattle, horses, humans occasionally.
And it's all for food, as I understand it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we translated this mission patch that we found, and we found out it said to serve humanity across the top, and then it had this alien face on it, and on the bottom it had this Greek, and what the Greek or what the Latin translated out to mean tastes like chicken. So we serve humans like chicken. Yeah, right?
I heard that about snake too.
Yeah, well, right, but yeah, that's right, brother. I heard that snake tastes like chicken too, brother. Wow. So the Anunnaki and the reptilians are enemies with each other.
Yeah, because the reptilians think that they own the planet.
What gave them that idea?
Because they said that they were here first 250 million years ago.
And
then the Chicxulub asteroid came in and wiped most of them out, but the core of them lived on Alpha Draconis.
yeah, so what's the relationship of the Draconians and the Anunnaki?
You could say bitter enemies.
Okay.
Because they want to enslave the earth for their own bidding, which is food, work, exploitation, and the Anunnakis want to embrace them because we are all part Anunnaki because of the genes that they gave us.
Right, and that's, you know, we talk about that genetic information that's just continually pouring out, and I'm sure they know far more than they tell us. But even now, they're telling us that they know that a large part of our genetics is unexplained.
That's right, because we were engineered in Abzu, which is now Australia.
Huh.
Because if you notice, there's a few videos out there of some type of Egyptian temples that were there at one time. And there's also Egyptian writing on a rock down there, which is actually a tomb.
Wow. Wow. Oh.
I found Lemuria.
Really? Tell us
Well,
about
they sent me all over the freaking place, and I just happened to come back with a few artifacts from it.
Well, of course, you know, I mean, any one of us do that, right?
And then when Lemuria sank because of the Earth rotation and the Great Glacial melt, okay.
Yep.
The like I said, you gotta look up Karl Monk and look at all 4 hours of the stuff, and you'll understand where I'm coming from.
Could you spell that for me? Because I couldn't make out what you said there.
Karl Monk.
Is that like M-U-M-O-N-K, like?
M-U-N-C-K. Carl, C-A-R-L.
Okay, got it.
I get it up on my YouTube site. Some of my favorite videos.
Do you want me to send people to your YouTube site, Daniel?
If you want to, there's a whole lot of information there.
Yeah, I would suspect so. I think I haven't even taken a trip there yet.
I think you'd be surprised when I got on it. And I haven't been crashed yet.
Yeah, so that's the question I was going to ask is what's the U.S. government? Why are they why are they being such assholes about all this stuff, man?
Because they don't want us to survive. They only want the elites to survive down in the dumps.
And how do they define elite? Because I think maybe we could misunderstand each other there.
Elite would somebody who has a lot of fucking money that they can throw around, and or royalty. The royal bloodlines, who can trace everything back to Sumeria, because they believe that they own the planet.
Well, I've had a lot of questions about this, right?
Yeah.
What gives any of these races the right to rule us?
A, we're not indigenous.
All right, well then I don't know, I guess that'd be a silly thing to say is like, where do we go? Where would we go?
We have no place to go right now.
Well, that's because they're holding us back from being able to travel. I mean, you traveled to Mars.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is, because I was special.
I get that you have special skills and capabilities, and that's what they exploit all the time from all of us. They've exploited me, they've exploited you, they've exploited anybody with a brain. I know that. Okay? But my point is this: what gives them the right to rule? I don't get it. I don't care if you created me or not.
Well, that's the one thing that they gave us was free will.
Right, my free will says.
Well, I wouldn't say that to a reptilian face unless you want it ripped off.
Well, then they'll have to rip my. Really, I don't care anymore. I'm getting to that point, Daniel. I just don't care anymore.
I know. I haven't even got into Montauk.